Hey guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Maddie and I'm a wife, a homemaker, and mom to 2 under 2. And today I have my husband with me.
That's right.
Because in honor of our anniversary, our wedding anniversary this week, we're going to talk about the things that we did differently at our wedding.
That's right.
To honor God.
Yep. And so yes, we are in a hotel room right now.
Our anniversary falls every year on the week of district council, so we are out of town every single year for our wedding anniversary.
And we always get to go to Olive Garden, and we get the soup and the salad at the lunch.
That's true.
It's fantastic.
Every single year.
That's right. You know, those breadsticks are like 500 calories a piece, but you know, it is what it is.
So before we go any further and get into this, we just want to go ahead and say that we are not casting stones at anybody. We're not here to shame anybody or to cast judgment on anybody. These are just some of the things that we did at our wedding to honor God. We felt like God wanted us to do.
For sure.
These are the things that we value in our marriage, and so that's not to shame anybody who didn't do it the way that we did it. We just did it the way that we felt God wanted us to do it.
Yeah, and hopefully this encourages anybody that's watching this video or that is going to get married, or even if you're already married, maybe some things that you can even implement into your marriage currently to continue to honor God and everything that you do.
I think the first thing that we have to talk about is no alcohol whatsoever.
Yes, we certainly had a clean ceremony, a clean wedding, a clean after party. You know, you can have just as much fun with having clean music, worship music that honors the Lord. And you know, alcohol, at least in my family, in my life, there has never been a moment in my family and in my life where alcohol led to anything positive. It has always been so negative. So you can have the argument of, you know, well, Jesus drank wine, and he made wine, he turned water into wine, all that stuff. You can have that argument if you want. But my personal testimony, my personal life, there has never been a moment in my life where alcohol ever led to anything positive.
Yeah, or it's negatively impacted people that we love.
Correct.
And we made the decision not to have alcohol at our wedding because we want to set the example for them and to not be a temptation to them as well.
That's right. Yeah, because there's a lot of people in my family and in her family that you know, that walk that path. And again, I'm not beating nobody up, but at the same time, I'm not going to be the reason that that is a temptation to you. And again, I think it just hurts a believer's witness at the end of the day. And so that was one of the big decisions that, you know, it was an easy decision on our part, but from a worldly perspective, that is a question like, why aren't you doing that? That's so weird.
Like normally,
or hey, we're gonna bring our own coolers instead. I'm like, no, we ain't doing all that.
Yeah. Normally you would have like a whole cocktail hour before you have the reception.
That's right.
And so we just skipped that all together. And one thing that we replaced with that is we just allowed people to go ahead and start eating. Like, I don't understand why you make people wait an hour before they can eat. We just let people eat, and as they were eating, we went ahead and took our pictures and stuff like that instead of doing the cocktail hour. Yeah,
certainly in our situation, whenever we're in youth ministry, your life is the example.
Right.
Your family is the example. The way we raise our children is the example. And so we wanted to do that with the wedding as well, is how can we implement our students, man. We probably had 50 students there just serving in a part and at the wedding and at the ceremony. I think it's so important, especially in today's culture and world, for them to see a covenant marriage between a man and a woman and God is so important. To see a biblical model of what it looked like, and what it was supposed to be. And again, that the world does not teach that and does not show that, and so we have to be the example. Followers of Jesus have to be the example.
And so one thing I think that's like our culture is so wrapped up in is the ceremony part and having our dream fairy tale wedding, which was important to me as well. But at the end of the day, the covenant between man, woman, and God is more important.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I think our culture, our world, and again, you can mark this video as a counter-cultural video if you need to, but at the end of the day, the world is really good at ceremonies, but not as good at covenants. It's so easy for marriages to break apart. It's so easy for a wife or a husband to leave their spouse because there was no covenant, and they were so worried about the expensive ceremony, and they never really put the effort into what actually brought them two together. And so we wanted to make sure in our wedding that we had focus on the covenant part, and also using the wedding as an opportunity and as a platform to speak God's word and to perform God's word before our family that don't know Jesus.
Yeah. And so it was actually something that we did, something that I've never seen ever done before. And at our wedding, we actually had our pastor preach a sermon and give a salvation message at our reception in order for our friends and family that don't know God to get the opportunity to receive Jesus.
Yeah, and so they were coming obviously to support our wedding, but at the same time we were saying, man, how can we use this for God's glory? How can we use this opportunity for someone that we trust beyond myself that can proclaim God's or the gospel of Jesus to bring salvation to the room? And I think there were people that were impacted by it. I think there were people that were encouraged by it, and it gives a different perspective of that we don't have to have the big massive ceremony the way that the world tells us we have to have it. Man, we had an incredible ceremony.
It was beautiful. It was amazing, even with the rain. Yeah. It was so incredible.
We had the Beauty and the Beast theme.
Yeah, it was my absolute dream fairy tale wedding.
Yeah, exactly.
And
more.
Yeah, and one thing about that is we were able to have that dream wedding without spending a ton of money.
Yeah, exactly.
So, we didn't have to wait years and years to save money in order to actually get married because, the covenant was more important to us than the ceremony.
That's right.
But even with that, I feel like because we honored God in our decision to go ahead and get married, I feel like God honored us and blessed us in a way that we were still able to have that dream ceremony and dream reception that I literally had on Pinterest since I was 13 or 14 years old.
Yeah, I totally agree. And so, at the ceremony, we had, we did what you would normally see at a ceremony. It was very, very brief because of the weather.
Yeah.
And so we had to do some of those things inside at the reception afterwards. And so one of the things that we did communion together,
which was really cool. That was supposed to be part of the ceremony, but again, because of the rain, we ended up doing it at the reception. Which I thought turned out even better.
Yeah, that's the unity part of the ceremony. So you would either braid a rope or do sand, mix the sand together, or there's multiple different things.
I know some Christians do a feet washing ceremony at their wedding.
Exactly.
But we chose in that spot to do communion, and we ended up doing it at the reception, and which actually worked out better. Worked out really better
because we were inside. It was an intimate moment already. Yeah. He just preached. And then we did communion after he preached, which was really, really cool.
And one thing we forgot to mention is before we actually did a worship song together.
Yeah.
And so if you didn't know, I helped lead worship, and so I sang a song and he played the keyboard, and we did a intimate worship song in front of everyone leading into our pastor's sermon.
Yeah, that was really cool.
Yeah.
And again, it was all, again, how can we use this platform to encourage those in the room and even somebody give their heart to Jesus or to turn from their sin? How can we use this platform to elevate Jesus? And that was kind of the whole idea behind it.
We had a pianist just play instrumental music behind us as we did our first dance, and as we did the father-daughter dance and the mother-son dance and those things. And then afterwards, we didn't open up the dance floor for other people to join in. We didn't have secular music and booty dancing, I guess. We didn't have that at our wedding. We didn't present people with the opportunity to do those things.
Yeah, for sure. And what we found in doing that is that people just fellowship. Like people just went around and hung out and talked and enjoyed the time to be with one another. You know what? And if they didn't, they just left. And I'm not hurt over that. Like it is what it is. And again, it's not for everybody, and I understand that. But for those that stayed and were there, I believe they enjoyed the time. I believe that it was a good opportunity for them, and also just a peaceful moment. I believe it was just a moment just to chill.
And without alcohol involved, it wasn't a crazy night that we didn't remember. Like we all have beautiful memories of the night because alcohol didn't cloud our judgment and our memories. And
just go around, talk to family that you haven't talked to in a while, or whatever that looks like for you. Go just eat a ton of food and just enjoy the night.
People had a good time, and God was still honored. At least I feel like God was still honored by the things that we did at our wedding.
No doubt, I 100% agree. And just speaking to the person that may be watching this video and you've been engaged, or the reason me and Madison, I think we were engaged like 3 months.
I think it was 5. We were engaged 5 months.
Yeah, and the reason people would say, "Man, why did you get married so quick?" Man, we knew. Like we knew that this was what God had for us.
Yeah. Like if you're dating with purpose, with the intention of getting married, we knew when we started dating that we were going to get married eventually. We didn't know when, but we knew that was the person that we were going to commit our lives to.
That's right. And just because I call myself a Christian and she calls herself a Christian does not mean that the temptation just leaves us of sexual sin. It doesn't just disappear. It doesn't just float away. It is still there.
Yeah.
And so how do you honor God? Well, you get married.
Yeah.
You get married.
There's no point in waiting. Especially, I feel like it actually makes it worse in some ways. Like when you know that you're going to marry that person, and you're like, well, we're going to get married anyway.
Yeah, we can just.
And the temptation is even greater because you can justify it more in your mind.
Especially when we live in a world today where it says, yeah, that's cool, that's fine. You don't have to do that. You can enjoy the excitement of marriage, and you can enjoy the attributes of
the
being
sexual
married,
intimacy of marriage
outside of marriage, and that is completely wrong. It will actually destroy that relationship that you have. And if you're a follower of Jesus and you're watching this video and you're in that season right now, it will actually ruin the relationship that God actually had for you. Because you were doing it outside of marriage, outside of the covenant that God meant for you to be in.
Yeah.
And so to bring God the most honor, you get married.
Yeah.
That's right.
We just went ahead and got married because we didn't want that temptation anymore. And so we were still able to have a beautiful ceremony and a beautiful wedding without spending the 2 5-year long engagement process.
That's right. Yeah, and it's a fallacy that says that you have to take a year or 2 to plan a wedding. Man, that's not true. It's not true.
Or even I think from like some people have the perspective of you need to stay engaged for a certain amount of time to make sure that that's the person that you want to marry. But like if that's the case, then you shouldn't be engaged.
You shouldn't be engaged. Like if I had to take this many years to figure out if I want to be with this person the rest of my life, then I probably shouldn't be with this person.
Yeah.
Well, maybe they're just not ready yet. They're a project, or I'm working on them, or Then look, I'm not saying they're not a great person. They may be a fantastic person, but they may not be the one. I encourage anybody that's engaged right now and you're on the edge of figuring that out, or the world says, or your parents or your friends say, man, you shouldn't be getting married so early.
It's too fast. You're moving too fast.
You're making a mistake. You're making a mistake. If you know that God's giving you the one, then do it. Don't waste any more time.
Yeah.
Jump into it. Because here's the thing, you're not going to be ready in 5 more years. There will never be a moment in your life where you have finally made it and you have finally figured it all out and you have finally got all the right money and the right job and the right car and I don't have no debt or I have to pay off my college and you're $100,000 in debt. You're never going to be in the right moment. Or I need to finish school first or whatever it is. You're never going to be in the right moment. Why can't that person that you obviously are dedicated to, why can't that person help you? You know, like why can't you get married to that person that obviously you feel the connection with, and why can't that person help you with school? Why can't that person help you get to the dreams that you have in your life? Why can't that person help you get to the financial stage of your life that you would like to be in? Why can't that person help you find the house that you would like to live in? Like why do you feel like you have to do it on your own if you're already dating and have dedicated your life to that person anyway?
And so we just want to encourage you guys with those things today, and just get you to maybe self-examine yourself, and ask God for yourself. What is He asking you to do? How is He asking you to do things differently and live differently and treat your relationship and your marriage and your spouse differently? Because there are so many voices from the world telling us what we should do and how we should be and the kind of weddings that we should have. And even if we have our own beliefs, we sometimes compromise to please other people. Or at the end of the day, we have to all ask ourselves, what does God want us to do?
That's right.
And be obedient to that.
And even watching this video, don't believe us. Don't trust us. Go read God's word and see what God's word says. Go and pray and ask God to speak to you. Don't take it from us right here. We heard from God, and we believe we heard from God. And we know we read God's word and trust God's word, and so we want you to do the same thing. Marriage is so important, and that's why we whenever we got married, we wanted to focus on the covenant part, because I'm going to do the rest of my life with Madison. Like there is no plan B. So I encourage you, make sure that you focus on the covenant.
Alright guys, so that is it for this video today. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up, and then comment down below what are some things that you did at your wedding to honor God that might have been countercultural.
That's right. And so this is Madison's channel. Why don't you subscribe to it? And we love you guys and hope you have a great day.
Bye guys, God bless.